What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Honest Tattooer podcast. My name is John Mesa. I'm joined by co-host Matt Triano.
Hey, how you doing?
Our homie G Money.
What's good?
And our special guest. Welcome, Matt, to the podcast, bro.
Thank you very much.
How are you, man?
I'm doing very well. I'm in New York City. I'm having fun. It's good.
Well, that's what's up.
Awesome.
Well, this podcast is brought to you by Tattoo Smart, Tattoo Pro, and Steadfast Tattoo Supplies. And the best way that you can to support the podcast is make sure that you go to honesttattooer.com, check out the content that we have on there, and make sure that you visit all of our sponsors. And that really does support the show. And if you haven't already, make sure that you like this video, and let's get on with it. So, where are you from, man?
I'm from Toronto, Canada.
From Toronto.
Yeah.
For those that don't know your story, let them know how long you've been tattooing and what kind of tattoos you like to do.
That's complicated. How long I've been tattooing? We'll say officially since 97, 98. So what's that? Maybe 25, 26 years.
Yeah.
And I like to do big, colorful work, but I started back in the day where you did everything or you didn't eat.
Yeah.
Anything that came in the door, you did. So I'll do it all, but I think my forte would probably be large color.
Cool.
You got a really cool C-3PO back piece on your page. It's fucking
That was
phenomenal.
so much fun. And that wasn't even my idea. That was the client's idea.
Yeah.
And he's 6'5", so that's a big back piece.
It looked like a big tattoo.
It is.
There's a lot of work in that.
It's a half mix of the Lateralis album from Tool.
Yeah.
Alex Gray's.
Alex Gray stuff. That's what I thought the background
C-3PO put into it instead.
That's cool.
The guy's
That sounds
Star Wars nut.
I haven't seen the picture, but I could only imagine like the metal effects with all
pretty
the color
cool.
and stuff.
It's pretty fun.
With C-3PO.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Shout out to Nick in the UK who got that back piece.
Cool. And did he travel back and forth to get that
No,
done?
he just moved back to the UK recently after
Okay.
being here for 15 years. He got 2 sleeves off me and a back piece, and we finished it about a month before he had to go back.
Wow, what a client.
Wow, dude.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
That's cool.
What would you say is the biggest change in the tattoo scene since 1999, since 2000 to 2025?
The biggest change?
Yeah, for you.
The biggest change for me, the oversaturation.
Yeah.
Definitely the oversaturation. When I was in the 90s, you walked into a bar, you knew who the tattooers were. You could tell right off the bat. And, if you saw somebody with a sleeve in 98, they were probably a tattooer.
Yeah.
Now you can't tell who's a tattooer, who isn't a tattooer. And you walk into a bar, half the people are tattooers. So
That's very true.
Yeah.
Before we continue, John, is his camera okay? Is the mic blocking his face?
It's not blocking his face, but he looks a little dark on his on this side. That's perf.
Okay, sorry.
Oversaturation.
yes. Just the amount of people that are around that are tattooing, much less heavily tattooed.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too.
Yeah, I've been to Toronto a few times. Toronto's a cool city, man.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I made it myself.
Are you like in Toronto, like out right in the outskirts, or?
Right now, I'm in one of the sort of newer, cool areas. It used to be that downtown was the big deal.
Yeah.
Downtown's kind of been gentrified. It's incredibly expensive now, so the tattoo shops are kind of moving outward.
out of
So
there.
I'm in one of the cooler areas called the Junction.
Oh, cool,
Toronto.
cool. There's a really cool area that when I've been to Toronto, it was kind of like not like almost like right outside of downtown, but it had a lot of really cool kind of like street art and stores,
Like a big graffiti alley.
yeah.
There's Queen West.
Yes.
Queen West in Toronto has always been the cool area. But, 20, 30 years ago, it was all smaller shops, and now it's American Apparel and The Gap and stuff.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of like how Broadway used to be here. Like Broadway used to be a lot of really cool shops, and now it's all like those really big brands.
Yeah.
All over the place.
We were talking earlier. I had started coming to New York in 2000. We came to the Roseland Ballroom tattoo convention and, tried to get back every 5 or 6 years. And we, from an outsider's point of view, we've seen especially things that are more popular like Broadway change that way. Like we got here in 2000, I guess Giuliani had just been in for a little while and cleaned it all up, but it was still a lot of like interesting bars and smaller, retail places and stuff. And now it's just, the M&M store and big things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's changed. But I feel like, man, that almost sounds similar to what I feel like tattooing's going through. You know, where there's like, there used to be a lot of like, there used to be less shops with more like,
Character.
yeah, with more character. And now it's like there's a bazillion of them, and a lot of them you can't tell them apart from the next at all.
You know what? You know what I find a lot with, especially the ones that are super new. We'll say since COVID, there's no art,
Yeah.
or the art is very like curated by the owner.
Yeah.
And you've got like a situation where 12 people work at whatever beds they happen to work at that day, and there's like a very curated amount of art, maybe one big piece at each station, where before stations looked like a teenager's bedroom, you know, like it's just whatever they had, whatever they loved.
Like a bunch of stuff that just inspires you, or, you know, and I think that's good.
A Playboy calendar. Freaking
Possibly
like,
a Playboy calendar.
Some like religious iconic figures. and, like,
Absolutely.
maybe a gun on the wall.
Well, I'm from Canada, so
Oh.
No guns.
rifles. We get rifles.
Now it's just like signs that say like, this is a safe space
This is a safe space.
with a fern right next to it.
Well, see, the safe space, important. I get that. The fern, not so much.
I don't know.
When we were down here, so John, Gabe, and I, when we first moved to this location, we were tattooing downstairs. And
Okay.
after about a year or two, we all moved upstairs. And on this column, there was a calendar, and every month was the girl, tits out, ass out. And it was like the talk of the thing down here. And then when we moved upstairs, everybody loved that thing.
Oh, no. But we like
Yeah, we
accepted
had it
it.
on that side, yeah.
It wasn't like we loved it. It was just part of the downstairs.
It was part of the
cool.
downstairs.
Yeah, it was cool.
And then when we moved upstairs, I brought it with me, and it just it didn't feel right.
Oh, yeah.
It did not feel right to have that up
Just
there.
walk right in here.
Yeah.
Titties just looking at you.
That's
dude.
all just a big metaphor. You brought it from the underground
Yeah.
Yeah.
up, and then you had to sanitize it. Right?
That's true. Once
Just
it comes
became-
up with the underground, it has to be a little
You can't
bit-
bring this up to the sterile grounds.
It was one of the first things you saw when you walked.
Somebody might get offended.
Yeah,
Well,
you do
then-
think about that. You're like, oh,
And
shit,
what you
man.
do is you just get a play girl calendar as well. When you put that
Oh.
on.
No,
Oh,
it's not
no.
the same as we've learned. We've learned that lesson pretty. Female bodies and male bodies, it's not the same category.
You know what? I'll give you that.
We've got
But I only know
I don't
that from a
agree,
male
but
perspective.
we've gotten roasted by making that
Gotcha.
comparison.
I think we should make a sign that says, this tattoo shop is a safe space. We'll fuck up anybody that fucks with you.
That's this is
You
what
know what I'm
this
saying?
is what
Like,
I wanted to
We'll fuck up
clarify.
anybody equally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is what I
If
wanted
anybody
to
fucks with you,
clarify.
we'll fuck them up.
That tattoo shops have gone from a what I mean by safe space, it's like a sensitive space. So no feelings will get hurt. Whereas my ideal shop is like everybody.
Nobody's safe.
Yeah, nobody's safe.
safe.
Everybody's under the target. Like that's what made it fun, and that's what made it like we're in this shit. Like
See,
you know what I mean? Like
As a Canadian, that's how we see a lot of the major cities on the east coast of the States. We see New York and we see Boston and places like that as like tough love places.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't make fun of a stranger. You'll get shot if you make fun of a stranger, but you make fun of your family, you make fun of your friends.
Yeah.
You rib them into doing things that you want them to do or not doing the things you don't want them to do.
absolutely. You make jokes about their religion, their race,
Yeah.
the food they eat, everything, because everybody shits on each other.
Everybody
equally.
gets it.
Yeah.
When I came up in Toronto, I worked at a place called Way Cool Tattoos for a while, and Way Cool was run by a man named Ace Daniels, Crazy Ace Daniels. If you go way back and watch all the like Charles Gatwood videos of the Amsterdam conventions in the 80s and the 90s, he was one of the guys that kind of was hosting those and running those. So he was an old timer in the business, old biker guy. And he was that way where like if you were black or gay or anything but middle-class white, that was your persona outside, like it within the shop. So say there was, a black guy named Pete, his name would be Black Pete. You know what I mean? But he was our Black Pete. You don't call him Black Pete.
Right.
We call him Black Pete.
Exactly.
You don't
Nobody
fuck with him.
Nobody fucks with him.
Exactly.
Like you're ready to throw down for Black Pete. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. But it was just a defining thing. Like usually because there were more than one Pete in the shop, but
Yeah.
It's like Black Doug from the Hangover.
Black Doug.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Our Doug. No, Black Doug.
Steadfast Tattoo Supply, owned and operated by professional working tattoo artist Frankie Porcelli, demanding top-performing materials, from the highest quality pigments and medical supplies, to tailor-made needles and cartridges with true line weights. Steadfast also specializes in custom machines built from scratch in-house and offers professional or group machine building seminars. Steadfast does everything to keep you and your clients covered. Steadfast, supplies that work as hard as you do.
So on your bio, you claim to be the cover-up king.
I've just done a lot of them, and I'm not afraid of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are either A, because they don't know how, or B, because it would infringe upon the style of their tattoo, which is completely valid. But because I came up in the street shops, I don't really feel like I have a style, so I can adapt to being able to put an incredible amount of black and detail and so on and so forth into something to basically make something disappear.
Do you take on every cover-up that walks in the door?
Not everyone, but a lot.
Yeah.
Some are just unreasonable.
Yeah.
And some just need to be maybe lightened with a laser a little bit, or they have to, I'd say, just kind of bend their expectations a little bit, because you're completely dictated by the cover up what you're going to get, right? Like,
Yeah,
you can't just I want script lettering over this, blackout sleeve. Well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's key though, is that you have to be able to look, as far as the client goes, you have to be open-minded and be willing to kind of play around with other options other than the one that you have in your head.
Yeah, absolutely. And usually the one in their head won't be the one that they're going to get, because they weren't looking at cover-ups online. They were just looking at, well, I want a dragon, I'll look at a typical dragon.
Right.
You're not getting a cover-up dragon, or sorry, you're not looking at a cover-up dragon, you're looking at typical dragons, and the typical dragons won't necessarily have the sort of darkness or the sort of composition that would work as a cover.
Yeah. It's funny, even though I feel like the non-tattooer is more educated as far as what good tattoos look like and how tattoos work, for the most part, I still find it really interesting that there's a lack of knowledge about how cover-ups work.
Yeah.
I still get a lot of inquiries, people wanting cover-ups, and they're showing me the tattoo that they have, the tattoo that they want, and it will be like a very dark arm or very dark tattoo, and then they want something like super light with a lot of negative space, or
Like a yellow circle.
yeah, and it
Glasses
blows my
sober with a
mind.
lady face with like yellow roses.
It blows my mind.
You're like,
it's
yeah,
still
bro.
not like common knowledge yet.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is because a lot of people still really don't know how tattooing works, and you can hear it, but when it's not something that you deal with on the regular, you don't know how the pigment goes in the skin and how it works. There's, you paint a wall and you can paint over that wall. Why can't we just?
That's
do
probably
that?
what they're thinking.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like to compare it to like printer ink. Everybody's printing on white paper and those colors come out great. But if you put a different color piece of paper on there, try to print the same thing, it's not going to look the same.
No.
Yeah, it's going to change the whole.
Or if you put a piece of paper in there that already has another printout on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be even worse.
Can't do it.
You can't do it.
You guys do a lot of cover-ups?
I've been getting so many lately. Last year, maybe it was even 2 years ago, I said I'm not going to do anymore. And I didn't for a while. But now it's like every other inquiry that I get is a cover-up.
I can see you doing cover-ups because you have like a heavy saturation with your work. So I can see that work.
I mean, yeah, I don't like doing it though.
I enjoy doing cover-ups. I enjoy like the final result of it. It's like, oh shit, that shit is gone.
Nah, I don't.
Especially if I like immediately see, oh yeah, I can cover it up with this. And if I see it immediately and I can tell the person, they're like, if you see it, dude, let's go. And they're not like trying to micromanage to something that's unrealistic for what the tattoo lends itself with. That feels really good. And I really do enjoy doing cover-ups, even if they're really, really hard.
The harder the cover-up, the better.
The
I
more
would say,
satisfying it is.
because you really get to plant your flag. You know, there's not a lot of occasions where I, as a business owner, a father, and so on and so forth, get to like beat my chest and, plant the flag. I did this. But, you do a really good cover up and you make someone really happy and you get to say that.
A buddy of mine showed me a really cool, not a cover up, but it's more of like he had to work with the person's anatomy. So they had like a crazy like kind of like concave kind of spot on their back.
Okay.
That looked wild. Like they looked like their spine was completely offset, like off to the side.
Little scoliosis.
Yeah, but it was like extreme, dude. And like it almost gave them like a hole in the part of the back. And shout out to the homie Avi. He's from Israel with one of the tattooers over there. And he showed me this cover up and it was like a dragon. And the way that he drew the dragon, just, dude, after I guess I saw the final product, I was like, damn, that looks really good. And like the dude looked not like completely lopsided anymore. Like it just, it balanced him out. And I'm like, that's awesome. And I'm like, I bet that made that dude feel so good about himself. Because after you've been like seeing yourself for a long time, and you're like, oh, I fucking hate this. And finally that thing just gone in a second. It just, it feels incredible.
I've seen that with like scar cover-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
When people have like skin grafts or, you know, they've had mastectomies or whatever, and then they're not happy with their bodies anymore.
Who's getting tattoos over vasectomy scars?
Mastectomy.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, I do vasectomy scar tattoos.
It's like,
You don't do those here? Super popular in Toronto.
Turn him into a money bags.
Does that even leave a scar?
I feel like it should.
I don't know.
I feel like it should leave something.
If you know, let us know in the
a little
comments.
tiny incision. Get your balls.
Ask the Google. I'm sure you'll get some fun pictures.
No. No thanks.
Hey, I'm Russ Abbott. I am the founder of Tattoo Smart. I've also been tattooing for over 25 years. I use digital design tools in my tattoo process every day. And in this case, this video is going to explain a new product that I just created called the washi set. Now, the washi set is 17 handmade papers from Japan that I photographed and then turned into paper texture backgrounds, which you can use in Procreate. It also includes 21 different brushes that were designed for using with these papers, or it could be used with any background that you choose. As always, if you're interested in purchasing this or any of our other products, you can get them at tattoosmart.com.
How's Israel?
Oh, guys, so I just came back from Israel. No, I don't care how you feel about it. But some people did. I got messages from people, just the fact that I was there. Like, you know, just
hating on it?
Just hating on it. And the reason why I went to Israel was because I was reached out to by this organization called Healing Inc. And they do pretty much fundraisers to be able to take tattoo artists to Israel to do free tattoos on people that have, you know, either PTSD from being in war situations or attacks, or people that have actual scars from, you know, being in war or in attacks. In my situation, like I got to tattoo a guy who went to war in Gaza in like 2016, got out of the war with PTSD. He shared with me his story. He told me that, you know, for almost 7 years after, you know, being in war, he still didn't really remember a lot of what he did, you know, and it wasn't until like, you know, he was with some people that he went to, that he was in with, you know, when he did certain things that told him like, you don't remember this? And he was like, no, I don't remember that at all. So he had to kind of go back to like start to bring memories back. And I was watching something about how sometimes when we go through really traumatic experiences, you know, like the mind does tricks, right, to be able to deal with these really traumatic experiences. You know, it could be something as simple as dissociating with it, you know, or compartmentalizing it and kind of putting it away, or even like creating like another personality for it. That's the extreme case, you know, when somebody completely like has like another, like if it's like if your brain just decides to create another hard drive, you know, let's divide this into 2 hard drives, you know, so you don't have to deal with like the memories of really bad situation. So like knowing that, I was like, oh man, that's freaking heavy, man. Like imagine not thinking or really remembering anything that happened to you in your life, you know, for a couple of years because you were in such extreme like warlike situations. And then after he got out, he started and he got help. He actually joined the organization that helped him so he can talk to other people about his experience and help other soldiers that had similar PTSD issues. So I got to tattoo him, and I also got to tattoo one of the survivors from the October 7th attack, in Israel in the Nova Music Festival. And this gentleman, he was at the music festival when all the attacks started, and he hid for almost 12 hours, and, other people helped him hide because he could hear like people getting murdered, like just out loud, which is wild, dude, to be able to make it past that. And it was like really crazy to hear everybody's kind of like testimony and kind of everybody's like, what they experience, and being able to do a tattoo for them that, made him feel better, about it, because tattoos create pain, right? But there's such difference between having a pain that you sign up for, and that leaves you something that you wanted, to, having like same kind of situation, but it's a pain that it just was forced upon you, and then you have to deal with and carry. So like being able to do something really nice for people with tattooing, dude, was very, very rewarding for me to do. Like, like very, very few times in our careers do we get to do like, things like that. Like Coverups is one of those moments where you do feel like you're doing something really nice for someone that's going to change them and change their lives a bit. And I think like in tattooing, if you have opportunities to do that, whether it is, that you're covering up a scar, whether you're covering, somebody's like gang tattoos from their past that they're trying to get past, and away from, and things like that. It really does like show you that you can do so much with your art, and it's really up to you to really use it, but it was a beautiful experience. And on top of that, I got to like hang out with a bunch of amazing tattoo artists like Steve Byrne, like Oliver Beck. So it was really, really cool overall.
The people who got tattooed by you, did they know it was you tattooing them before they got there?
Yes. So I actually started, talking to them. So let's say there were maybe like 12 of us, the US artists, and there was like maybe another 20 Israeli tattoo artists that participate in this. And they all like, there's like hundreds of people that like submit their stories.
It was just some U.S. artists, and then the rest were Israeli
artists.
Okay.
And everybody submits their story, and then they have like a group of people that kind of read all the emails from everybody and see who are the best candidates for to receive like the tattoo. Because in the end of the day, it's just like they're giving they're giving a gift away to somebody. They want the best people to kind of get it and deserve it. And we tattooed in a library, which was really cool. That's like an extension of the museum, the Israeli museum, and that was rad. And then the second day that we tattooed at the company Wix that does the websites. Yeah. We tattooed at their headquarters.
That's cool.
And that was also very, very cool. And that was like, if you could imagine like a giant tech company's headquarters is exactly what it was, just huge, and everything you could imagine is in there. It was wild, dude. Huh. Yeah, it was very, very cool. Other than that, we got to do a bunch of sightseeing. We went to Jerusalem and got to see like the old city. And it's funny because I've been to, Europe and a lot of like old places, but like this place is so old and the streets are built where this is just for people walking and maybe like a freaking donkey, you know what I mean? Like it's little tiny streets, and everything feels so old. And like when everything is like BC, it's like wild, bro. Mm-hmm.
And are the roads there still better than the roads in New York?
I don't know, man. New York's getting better sometimes, but
I was
Mayor
walking
Adams,
down.
get to work.
I was walking from my car here the other day, and there was this gaggle of girls riding their bikes down the street, and one of them screamed out so loud, she's like, "Whoa, these streets are so much better than Chicago!"
Oh wow,
that's so funny.
That's saying a lot.
That is saying a lot, dude.
I mean, to her credit, it was First Street and it was just recently paved. So it's
So it's better. What else? One thing that's crazy is like, when you're doing tattoos like that, like not everybody can sit well for a tattoo. So there were a few people that signed up to get tattooed that as soon as the tattoo started, they were like, oh shit.
it was like their first time.
Yeah, like it's like their first tat, and they're like, whoa, this is very intense. And
Yeah, in a situation like that, I guess you got to finish it.
and then you got to finish it, or just try to switch it up,
I guess with first timers that have gone through some sort of trauma like that, you run the risk of kind of bringing that trauma back a little bit if they go through another sort of traumatic experience, right?
Right. So one thing is that they did have like social workers there that were, trained in like being able to help people in case they did get any kind of like flashbacks or traumatic moments, and stuff like that. Because sometimes, when people are going through pain and they know that they're getting this because of what had happened to them, it can put them back in that place mentally of like, oh man, like all this bad shit was going down.
Well, hiding for
Correct.
12 hours.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
things like that can really bring you back and bring all those memories back. But the people that I tattooed were really, really, really good. But like I did see people that were getting tattooed by other tattooers that were crying and going through tough moments. And that was like, it's tough to see that.
It's heavy.
Shit. Yeah, it's heavy to see it and heavy to experience it. But overall, like, you can see that at the end, they felt better. It's almost like you get that cry out and you get that like bit of like closure to maybe a chapter of your life.
Jokes aside, but was it mostly with the trad daddies that were getting
No. It was like a little bit of like
type of tattooing's a little more aggressive usually.
some people were getting tattooed like ribs and stuff, like spots where like it fucking hurts.
I mean, dude, I'm a baby about that now, so I can only imagine.
Oh yeah, like that shit hurt.
yeah.
And imagine if you're like mentally not in a great place.
Oh,
where
for
like,
sure.
Oh, dude, it's so tough.
Mm-hmm.
So tough. Then, I mean, Israel's beautiful, dude. What a beautiful country.
Yeah, the pictures looked amazing.
Yeah, dude, just freaking beautiful, and the food's incredible, and people were just so nice. So nice. I would go back in a heartbeat.
Cool, man.
All right.
Well, while you were gone, you missed the annual No Idols flood.
The annual flood, dude. That's one thing that's been a pain in the butt in this building. That it's an old building.
Speaking of old countries and old buildings.
Yeah.
So fucking every year we'll have at least one time where fucking there's a pipe, there's a leak, and then it gets worse and progressively worse.
How much flooding? Like, do you get like an amount of water building up on the ground sort of thing, or?
This time, not as much as last time.
Last time we had a waterfall.
Yeah, last time it was really
a
really
waterfall.
bad.
It was rough.
But so there's apartment buildings above us.
Okay.
And out of however many units are there and how many pipes are running through, there's always something just burst in, or someone's leaving their sink running and then the water's coming down. And by the time it gets down to us and it fills up the sheetrock and then the sheetrock finally gives in, there's a ton of water.
Yeah.
So when it breaks through, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then we'll clean it up. It'll continuously leak
Everything
until,
has to get out of there.
until the guys come and repair it.
I have a fun flood tattoo related story. I don't know what kind of stencil machines you use, but those old 3M rhinoceroses of machines that just as you put the stencil
best.
thing through. I knew a guy in Winnipeg, which is a very cold and snowy place in Canada. And when they have their thaw, they have a lot of flooding as well. And a shop that there's these things called up and downs where the business will have there's no business on the main level with the street, but there's one that's 4 steps up, and then there's
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it was in the bottom part, and this guy had been kind of hoarding. He had about 2 or 3 of these machines, and they had a really bad flood, 3-4 feet. Had to replace all the drywall and stuff in the place.
Oh man.
But these things had been on the floor, so
Damn.
and they're expensive machines.
Yeah, they're-
right?
They
Especially
go for
the old
$2
ones.
grand now.
Exactly. So, they dry them out. They wipe all the mud off. They take off the cover. They wipe it up a little bit, plug it in, chug, 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 chug. Not a problem.
Those things are indestructible, man.
Every last one of them worked and worked fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's wild. So I just found out about a new tattoo stencil machine while I was on the trip talking to the rest of the tattooers. It's called an Eclipse. And I want to show this shit to you guys because it looks sick. I was like, damn, this looks...
Is it the one that does the color tattoos on the like gel sheet?
No.
Okay.
No, it does. It works just like a regular thermal.
There's still that buzz in the microphones, right?
I hear a little bit of it. Yeah, it's not as bad or as strong as before, but I hear it a little bit. From Worldwide. Look at this thing.
Worldwide. Worldwide tattoo supply.
Eclipse version 3 stencil machine. Thermal copy machine specialized for tattoo stencil creation. Allows for fine-tuned speed adjustments to achieve perfect stencil quality.
So little things that are dope of that machine.
Yeah,
Yes,
what's so different about this than a normal one?
it's kind of like, one has an auto shut off. It has an auto like warm up setting, so it like gets to the
Perfect.
to the perfect temperature.
You don't have to run it a couple times just to.
Correct, just to get it right. And you can always just leave it on because after like you run your stencil, no stencils run after a certain amount of time, it just shuts itself off,
That's nice.
which is pretty sweet. And it just gives you really, really crispy stencils.
The warranty
Like
sucks.
super crispy and clean.
This is what you were using in Israel?
No, but one of the artists was like, man, you need to get this.
Okay.
They're like, this thing's sweet,
Of course.
super crisp.
So you know me, I'm gonna always look at like I'm the dude that will go on Amazon. Like my wife will be like, "Oh, we should try this product," and I'll be like, "Yeah, do me a favor, check out the least rated reviews." I'm always immediately going for that. So I look for the negatives and everything. So like the warranty, with stuff like this, I'm always gonna look at warranty like that. But comes with a 1-year limited warranty with options to extend up to 4 years for additional coverage.
Of course.
That's standard.
But yeah, is that what other stencil machines are? Like, I can understand that a year doesn't sound long, but what are the other stencil machines warranties at?
Well, like I came up with 3M. Like that warranty is like there's no warranty. It's literally forever because there's Joe Schmo that can repair them.
Right.
And, you know what I mean? So
But that's a whole different thing. That's not the
that's a different
company.
ballgame.
Yeah, that's not the
Taking
government.
care
You
of
still
it.
gotta
Like-
get somebody else to
Like, didn't you
fix
guys
it.
in New York State? Didn't you guys have Harrington? There was a guy named Harrington, some old guy.
Oh yes,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
yes.
taking care of stencil machines, and
yeah.
you just
Yep.
travel around like fixing people's stencil
Yeah,
machines.
exactly. And he wouldn't charge that much. Like
No.
he was so dependable. Everybody would just send them to him,
Yeah,
and he'd send them right back, and your stencil machine will be right up and running again.
yeah.
Like this, like 50-year-old machine, like just running, doing crispy stencils constantly.
I still have one of those old ones.
Yeah. You know what's funny about those is that they just recently started becoming super expensive because I'd say like 5 years and back.
No, it's been more than that.
Nah, dude, they were under $1,000.
Not
and
up
now
Ryan.
they're
Yeah,
and now they're double that, if not a little bit more.
No,
for the
they've
3Ms.
been way over $1,000 up in Canada for quite a while.
Yeah.
Over here.
And
They start at 2,000.
You'd only find them like when a school closed or something.
Exactly.
They,
Yeah.
they went in the way back of the basement of a
Yeah.
school and pulled out all these like ditto makers and
Yep.
copy makers
Right.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I remember.
And even then, those people would be like, "I'm not even going to keep it. I'm going to sell it."
Oh yeah, they sell it not knowing what it is.
Right.
And if you were savvy and happened to be there for it, you're
I'll
like,
give you $100 for this.
yeah,
Yeah. I'd be like, "Oh,
You're lucky. I'll give you
Yeah.
$100.
yeah, exactly." And then make 2K on it. Like
Sick.
I see them on Tattoo Gear for sale. 2,000 minimum.
Yeah, but that's been like that for a while. That's not recent.
Do you see them selling though? Or do you just see them listed?
Oh, they sell.
Okay.
Yeah, they sell. That's what they're worth now.
Because nowadays, I guess it all depends on how long you've been in the business and whether you've used these machines before. But now you can buy, a machine that you can fit in your pocket
Yeah.
that has Bluetooth and, runs
Yeah.
on batteries.
Yeah.
And it's
I've
like
used-
$150.
I've used those things too, and they suck.
They do. They don't give you
They
like a dark line.
Suck.
Yeah, the cheapo ones, not good.
No, they really suck. I've tried them all.
I mean, for what it's worth, though, when you're at a convention and you just don't feel like waiting on that line, and you can just print out a bunch yourself, and you don't have to lug this gigantic thing with you. It's good for that.
That gets it done.
Yeah.
Those like little portable ones are good if you're gonna make just a stencil for yourself, not a group of people.
Yeah.
And it does the job.
Or if you're being sneaky, like in a forest and doing that.
At that point, just freehand that shit. Just freehand it.
Yeah. This one time I got frustrated.
But it's my grandma's, signature. It needs to be exact.
I copy that shit like a forger. Give me that Mima signature.
Yeah.
Mima.
Mima.
All right, so we literally do everything. We're going to help you 3 to 5x your income simply by maximizing your output. At the Force of Focus, we have 4 different members in leadership who have all dedicated more than half their lives to this industry, both in and out of the tattoo career, to give you every resource you could ever imagine. Everything from personal development to branding and marketing, content, business innovation, business infrastructure, and financial literacy and investments that are truly going to work for you. Now, if this is something you're interested in, or if you just want to know more about it, click the link below or shoot us a DM at the Force of Focus on Instagram, and let's get a conversation rolling.
All right, I got it. Let's play a game.
Uh-oh.
I want to play a game.
Guys, my jet lag has me like I'm dying right now. It's insane.
How long have you been back?
So I got back yesterday at like 5 o'clock. I left there at 10 a.m. or 11 or 10:30 a.m. Got here at 5, but there's a 7-hour
I can imagine that being.
in the future. So right now, for me, it's 10. It feels like we're at like 4 in the morning.
And how long were you there?
And I was there for 9 days.
So you definitely like adjusted to the time.
I adjusted to the time, yeah. No, it sucks too because I feel like I just adjusted right towards the end. Like, oh, I'm feeling good now. You come right back. You're like, fuck.
Coming back is the worst. Every time I go to Italy, it's a 6-hour difference. So it's
You're like, oh, I feel
yeah.
beat, dude.
Like, yeah.
Beat.
right now it's what, 10:42? It'd be 4:42 in the morning. I
Yeah,
was in Italy.
that's what it
Yikes.
feels like. It's crazy.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Do you guys like the hard or the soft version of the following items? Okay.
All right.
You a hard or a soft guy?
Depends on what we're talking about.
Okay. All right.
I leave that one alone.
Would you rather a hard hitting machine for color packing or a soft shader for black and gray?
Hard. Oh man, I like hard in both.
I got to pick one.
Yeah, I like hard.
You like hard?
Hard
Yeah.
all the way.
Any of my clients will tell you hard hitting.
Hard hitting.
I'm still loyal to the coil, so
I like a hard hitting machine. too.
Yeah, even for black and gray, I still like kind of like a hard hitting machine.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I work off the tips.
All right.
can leave that one alone too.
Gloves. Would you rather those stiff nitriles or the flexible latex?
Latex all the way, baby. I like that latex.
I got used
life.
to the nitros.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm okay with it.
Haven't used latex in well over a decade. It's all nitrile.
Yeah.
I was the same way. I did not use latex for a very, very long time. I got used to the nitrile. And then for whatever reason, I picked up a box of latex not that long ago. And I was like, oh shit, this is so much better.
So much better.
So much better.
Don't you guys have things with latex allergies up here or down here?
I mean, some people do.
They risk
Some
it.
people haven't, but like I feel like less people have latex allergies than people that have peanut allergies.
That's probably true.
How many peanuts do you use in your tattoos?
None. But I like to eat these nuts. But for sure, like I think like, like unless I like, if I'm going to give somebody a tattoo, usually they'll know if they have some kind of latex allergy because they've been to the doctor in their life and they knew.
They might not know to tell you though.
Yeah.
Like how old is somebody? Do you have to be 21 here to get tattooed?
18.
18? So some 18-year-olds have not been in the hospital.
That's true.
So they come in for their first tattoo. You've got latex and they, get rashy or go into anaphylaxis or I guess not.
Or yeah, that's why they sign a consent form.
Yeah, I don't know anyone in Toronto or even Canada, I don't think, that uses latex anymore.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, do you guys, okay, remember Pat Fish?
Pat Fish.
Female tattooer, did a lot of Celtic work. she got really heavily latex. She had a bad latex allergy where like she couldn't even smell it.
Damn.
And it got bad. And some people were talking about how it was something that got built up because of her exposure to latex for so many years and the sweat. And back then, the latex gloves all had cornstarch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just built up and it made her allergic to it.
That's crazy.
Now, I don't know if that's the truth. That's just what I had heard.
Well, that's how a lot of allergies come about.
Yeah.
You build it up, and then all of a sudden your body's sick of it, and it builds up. Your immune system starts fighting against it, which is what creates all the shock, and it usually builds up to anaphylactic, and it can get pretty serious. Yeah, it's just like some of my food allergies and airborne allergies. That stuff developed. It didn't just come out of nowhere.
Right.
It developed over time.
Damn.
So
What's next?
All right, what's next?
What you got?
We got music in the shop. Hard, heavy music or soft, chill music?
Oh, I like that soft, chill music.
When I was younger, all hard.
Yeah.
Now, I like some samba. You like a little bossa nova. I like the music that I would cook to or cook with to tattoo with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So usually on the more positive side, a little chill, a little soft.
Yeah, that's the kind of music like the same way. Like if I'm like on my Sunday mornings and I'm like getting ready to make some breakfast and like get the house a little bit tidy up. Yeah, I play like a certain kind of music that it's like it's smooth, a little upbeat, but it makes me want to do stuff.
Yeah.
I think
When I was younger, I was definitely bumping Slayer hard as fuck.
I think once your back really starts to hurt, you don't get into the aggressive music as much. You need something a little softer.
I can go either way. I don't like it too mellow.
Wait. We can go either way on our answers.
Well, I'm going to give you my answer.
Okay. All right.
I could go either way.
Okay.
I definitely don't like it too mellow, though.
same.
This is snooze fest. If it's a snooze fest, no.
Yeah. So I want something groovy. It'll kind of you can keep it up like a good pace with it.
It's almost like you want like that BPM to match your hand, right?
Yeah.
There's something about that of like if like
Yeah.
wanna be like-
exactly.
just like you want that rhythm to match with your shading. If it's too slow and you're like you gotta be like packing some shit, they're like, no way, dude, this ain't happening, dude. I'm in packing mode.
Yeah.
I need to speed up.
We had some screams going on tonight, and John was like, "Garrett, turn this off."
Oh God. Oh my God. Especially when I know there's something about, right? If I'm tattooing a client's like tough spot, right? Where it's like painful. And on top of that pain, there's the wah. And then on top of that pain, there's also like, not in my case, but then there's sometimes like the machine is going rah.
Yeah.
And then the music is going rah. Dude, that has to be like a terrible feeling. Like the compounding of just,
Yeah, it's exponential.
yeah.
Like it's just more and more and more. on
Yeah,
top
like
of it.
they're internally screaming because that tattoo hurts. Then the machine screaming at them and the music scream. It's like too many like uppers.
You know
dude.
how many times I've had clients that have told me that they have their either headphones on or their earbuds on, and they'll change their music to something heavier when they get to a more painful spot
Oh shit,
because
that's
that gets it through them. Like gets them through it.
that's
Yeah.
interesting. That's interesting. That also I also think that's something very like individual.
Yeah, it's personal.
It's very personal for every person.
I'm gonna have to agree there a little bit more because I'll give you an example. Like when I go to the gym and I'm really pushing myself hard, I'm not gonna listen to some mellow shit. I'm gonna really push myself hard.
I don't think it's the same thing, though.
Yeah, it is because you're still pushing through pain. Like if you're really working out, like working out
a
hard.
Client. Yeah. But
No,
as
but
an
I mean-
artist.
Oh, but as an artist too, like I still like I feel like it's like it just depends on the person. Like there's people that want to listen to some Bach, as they just zone out into a trance when they're being creative. But sometimes as a tattoo artist, you want stuff to be a little bit more aggressive. Like me, like my tastes change from all over the place. Like I can listen to some classical, but then sometimes I want some heavy rock as I'm like whip shading some shit, you know what I mean? Or just like really like doing either aggressive like color or just even like method is a little bit more aggressive. And I'm not just,
See, with
I want to listen to something rough, something more upbeat,
with what you
some rock
said, like
music.
if like when you're working out, right, and you're creating tension because you're training, and it makes sense, right? You're creating tension. But when you're tattooing someone, I don't want them to be tense. I want them to relax.
Yeah.
I want the total opposite.
Yeah.
So if they're listening to music that creates like that, like if you think of a scream, when you scream, you go, everything gets tight, right?
Yeah.
So like if they have that in their brain of like, oh my God, this hurts so bad, it's a total opposite reaction. They're spending so much energy doing that.
Right.
And I want them to fucking let go. I want them to feel like, hey, you're with the big guy in prison. Don't fight it.
Yeah. But all right, but see, this is what I'm trying to explain. Your version of a let go music may not be your client's version of a let go music. Just like Matriano was talking about, somebody might let go to freaking Slayer, and they let go to that, and they're just there like that's their let go music. That's their
it's
melody.
very personal, very personal.
So it's like they're not going to want to listen to what you think is a let go.
Yeah.
So.
True.
Word. All right. Let's see what's next. All right. Tattooing on the body. Would you rather tattoo a hard spot, bony spot, or a soft, jiggly,
I mean,
Like a butt.
like a butt, like a belly?
I hate tattooing butts.
yeah.
Butts are tough.
I not that I like bony parts, but if we're saying that the part is a bony part or a butt, butts are tough, man. And sometimes butts are tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're literally,
That
Buns
butt
of steel.
skin is tough.
there you go. Yeah.
those
Obviously,
ones
the
do.
answer here is a firm body
Yeah.
part.
I like
firm,
it
something
hard.
firm.
Yeah.
Something that's
100%.
Because number one worst spot for me on the entire body is right in between the rib bone and the hip bone.
Yep.
Oh,
That
yeah.
area
We were just
right
talking about
in
that
there,
last week.
The worst spot in the world.
It's tough.
I was talking to some homies about how like this like arch right here, like the arch between like your sternum going around that lower rib cage around to the side is probably the most painful part of your body to get tattooed. Dude.
Oh yeah.
It is like instant. As soon as it starts, it's like red flags. Like, your
And
brain
hard
is like,
to
make
tattoo.
this stop, dude. It's so bad.
I was walking into the store the other day and there was a kid outside collecting donations for whatever charity. And his tactic was to start a conversation with whoever's walking in the building so that when they walk out, they're like, oh, hey, we're buddies now. You want to come? Right. So when I was walking in, he was like, hey, man, I really like your tattoos. I'm thinking about getting my first one. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool. He's like, I want to get my first one, but I don't know where to do it. Where's the least painful spot? I was like, I don't know, probably your upper arm. He's like, oh, really? I was kind of thinking like my ribs. I just laughed at him and walked in. Walked in the middle. I was like, nope.
Yeah, you do that.
You should totally do that, dude.
Yeah.
It's the best spot ever.
Okay. I know your answer. Oh, actually, maybe I don't know your answer on this one. Edges. Would you rather a hard edge or a soft edge when doing like whatever kind of tattoos you're doing?
Ooh.
So I used to tattoo a lot with curved mags and soft edges. But now I'm just a habitual corner digger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love straight and flat mags, just it just depends. So when I'm doing black and gray, I like a soft edge when I'm going with a bigger mag. When I'm
Yes.
going with a bigger mag, because I can get my tones smoother, because I have this like theory of how when there's much more of them, spread across a wide area, they're going to hit the skin evenly with their impact. Like they're all, starting from the middle as they make their impact, and then distributed all the way to the sides as the skin bends like a trampoline.
Yeah.
And that gives me more of an even tone. Whereas opposed, if I'm going like, let's say, give you an example, 11 mags and down, I'll just go straight.
I agree with you there.
Big facts.
Yeah, hard edge.
Hard
Right.
edge.
I like hard edges too.
Me too.
Unless I'm trying to do some like black and gray sort of realism kind of shit, then that soft edge is kind of necessary. But I still like to even like, I just like that. But like,
Yeah.
it feels better.
All right. These are a little different. One-shot tattoos or big projects?
enjoy big projects. I love one-shot tattoos, but big projects are usually more challenging. They're more because of the challenge. There's like a bigger reward at the end, and the relationships that you develop with a client. Like the guy that got that back piece, that C3PO back piece. We're now good friends. You can't not be, after that amount of time, become at least, people you'd hug in the street. Like I enjoy that. I enjoy creating a relationship with a client.
Yeah.
Me too.
Man, I remember when Olivia was working here, somebody came in asking her to do a sleeve, and she turned it down. I was like, what? Why don't you want to do a sleeve? She's like, I just don't like doing big projects like that. I'd rather just get the tattoo done and be over with it.
Is she afraid of commitment?
I don't know, but it blew my mind.
Yeah, that would be like, what?
Like, you don't want a lot of money right now?
Yeah.
And most of all, like, I think like those big projects give you the rare opportunity to polish a tattoo more than you could ever polish any other tattoo.
Yeah, correct.
You can polish that tattoo like so much more. Like, you could do everything and then you go back to it, and everything that you thought was good, you're like, that could still be better. And that's a fact for every tattoo in the world, dude. Like, it's very rare that you can just see a tattoo and it's like, first try, perfect. It did never, especially if it's kind of big, that it's like, there's nothing. Like, you can't saturate that a little more, make those lines a little crispier.
Even when I'm doing a sleeve of one-shot tattoos, I'll go back into the other tattoos and I'll be like, oh, missed their little holiday right there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's pack that thing a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, it needs to be a little more black.
You know what's more black? 2 times black.
Yeah.
Or 3 times black, dude.
Yeah. I think that's my favorite part, actually. You kind of hit it right there with the building relationships. Like, I get it. There's some tattoo artists that they just want to be like a printing press. Like, all right, get out next. Yeah. Get out next. I think it just depends on the personality, because I like creating bonds, getting to know somebody, hearing their story, hearing their drama, getting their point of view on something that I might have a different point of view of. I feel like I learn a lot from my clients just talking to them. Like, they open you up to a different world you're not familiar with. That's one of the gifts about this trade, is the connection for me. I mean, at the end of the day, we're doing art on someone, which is great. It's a gift in and of itself. But for me, it's also been about like the connection with people that I get to make. It's kind of special, and I've made great friends from tattooing sleeves, and it's always bittersweet, right? Like, let's say you finish like a really big project, and you're like, you almost want to see them again. You're just like, oh man, you're like, oh man,
I miss talking about CIA aircraft.
You know what's also really cool on top of that is when you got a group of guys in the shop who are all doing big projects, and then the clients are getting friendly with the clients of the other artists, and it's like huge big family. Everybody's got to hang out,
and they'll sometimes crisscross at the appointments, and they're like, "Hey, you were getting tattooed by Matt while 2 weeks ago. Tattooed by Gabe.
Exactly.
Hey, what's up?" And they're kind of like in this club where they head nod each other, like.
Or you've got clients that, like, people are telling their stories, and you're in a small area together, so everybody's kind of hearing it.
Yeah, everyone.
Clients that come back and go, "Hey, man, that guy, did you get that job, or did you get that part in that movie, or because they care, because like, yeah, he was a pretty cool guy. We're kind of going through the same thing. I associated with him."
Exactly. Sure.
That's just building community, man. I feel like that's just building community. I feel like that's one of the cool things about our job, that we get to like talk to so many people, and those people get to like build relationships and bonds with others, and we all like tats. That's what we all got in common. We all like tats.
It's like the real life chat room.
It is.
Yeah. Social club.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's a social club.
Yes.
It's kind of rad.
Without ferns.
Right.
Let's do one more. Gabe wants to leave.
I have to.
Gabe has to leave. Stencil or freehand?
Ooh, I'm gonna say it depends.
Yeah.
It depends. Sometimes I absolutely love to freehand something, and sometimes I'm like, oh man, I just need to stencil.
Oh man. I mean, it depends, right? Because it's like, It depends what mood I'm in. But most of the times, even though I can freehand like nobody's business, I prefer to stencil.
Me too.
Yeah, efficiency.
Yeah.
Just efficiency, dude. Like
Less pressure.
Yeah.
It's like building a house. Like, do I prefer to just wing it like I'm out there in the wild with a couple tools? Or do I prefer like a blueprint that was like prepared like by an architect and be like, okay, look, I got the dimensions.
Yeah.
I'm going to use this for the foundation. I'm going to do,
Big
you know
facts.
what I mean? It's like,
I'm going to go out and say that I approach my freehands the same way that I approach drawing like for a stencil. The only difference is when you're making a stencil, you have the clean outline to go by when you're done. So when you're actually outlining,
yeah, I know what you mean.
when you're actually outlining, it's just a much cleaner and enjoyable experience than having the kind of like you should have like a final outline drawn in a darker ink, but there's still going to be a lot of those other colors, most likely going to have that orange color, that yellow color, right? So it's a little bit
more
of a
stuff
sloppy,
Yeah.
like a sloppy thing that you have to kind of navigate through,
Yeah.
which that becomes stressful. It wipes off a lot easier. I mean, granted,
Oh, yeah.
yes, you're going to be able to manipulate the drawing better to fit the body part, but I don't know.
And as well, like if you're, it all depends on what you're freehanding, right? Like if you're freehanding something the size of a palm, not a problem. You're freehanding a sleeve. You're freehanding something that, like, it's great to have chunks of stencil. Whether you're doing a sleeve, you have three main things and then some connective bits and background.
Yeah.
To do the stencils of the main things that you need that blueprint for. But the, I don't know how it's going to work going around this edge. I can freehand that part. You know, freehand the finger waves, freehand the coin clouds,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but your tiger head that, you love so much, you could freehand it, or you could put a stencil on. It takes 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing that I always trap myself is I'll design a piece and then, the neo-trad thing to do is let's throw some flowers and leaves around it, right?
Yeah.
And on my stencil, I'll make the flowers and leaves proportionate to the drawing. Then I'll put it on the body part as a stencil, and always those flowers and leaves look too small. So I wind up having to change it or redraw it. So I'm starting to think now, like, let me just do what you're saying. Just stencil the main element and then just freehand all those extra like secondary elements.
Especially with everybody having an iPad now, it's a lot easier to create the layers.
Yeah.
So if you have a lady head and 4 flowers, you have the lady head and the 4 flowers as different levels, right? So you can just print off that one flower again and do them all as separate stencils.
Yeah.
And just put them together
Smart.
like a jigsaw.
Yeah. Super smart.
Man, putting together like today the owl that Matt Buck was drawing on this dude's neck, like I would have stenciled the head to the feet and then just freehanded just the wings, because that was the part that was kind of wrapping around like the whole thing.
Yeah, so Matt was doing an owl that started on the back of this guy's neck and the wings wrapped around like a collar and came around to the front.
All the way to the front, which it's a pain in the butt to like stencil that. So you definitely want to like just draw that on. But like the part where it's like just sitting nice and flat and straight, I'm like, oh.
Especially something symmetrical like that, dude.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt.
When people aren't symmetrical at all.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You take 2 equal wings, you wrap them around a neck, and they're like this.
Yeah.
Right?
So hard to do. Yeah, that's when drawing it just helps you make it cheat a little bit and make it fit and make it look like it's perfect.
It looked amazing though. He did a great job.
He did a killer job. The fucking guy's so good.
Always does.
Insane.
God damn
That's
it.
insane.
All right.
Too
Cool.
good.
Go find your parking spot.
Yeah, bro.
So we're an hour in.
Right, all right.
We're going to
Keep going, guys.
call this short, and then what we're going to do is we're going to, without Gabe, do our little Patreon. So guys,
We're gonna do an after show.
yeah,
Nice.
hold me to this. I'm committing to it. I'm going to make sure this happens every week from now on, and if I don't, somebody yell at me. We're going to do an after show every week. At least 10 minutes, 15
10
minutes.
minutes, 15 minutes after show.
So if that means we got to cut the normal show short,
little short.
then so be it.
Because there's people paying for the good stuff.
Yeah, and I greatly apologize to all those people. I've said this a million times before. I apologize to all those people in the Patreon who've been supporting the show and not really getting any extra content. We're going to try better. So starting today, right now.
Right now.
All right, so thank you guys
guys-
for coming.
Thanks for
Matthew,
hanging out with
being
us.
here.
Not a
Oh
problem.
yeah, and G Money.
I feel like, oh yeah, and peace, guys. I'll see you guys very soon. I feel like you should get some more insights on like the like Toronto Canadian tattoo scene. You know,
Yeah.
Sure.
like you guys.
Yeah, let's talk about Toronto. There's some conventions up there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Plenty.
All right. Cool. So if you guys want to check that out, if you want to hear some extra little tidbits about Toronto and what else we got to say, check it out in the Patreon.
If you want to hear how Matt feels about being the 51st state,
Oh my
Thank God that's on Patreon. Wait, is there a tariff on the Patreon charge? Is that how that works?
man, that's something that I wanted actually to talk about.
All right, well,
dude.
let's do it.
I
We'll see
wanted
you guys
to talk
there.
about fucking tariffs and tattooing and how that's gonna fuck up our game. If you want to hear all about this, make sure you check on the Patreon and make sure that you tune in next week for the show. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.